In my yesterday's video about NIO's deliveries, I made one mistake, which was around the current run rate of NIO. So how much cars can they produce? And so in this video, I want to talk about what was the mistake, what is actually the real run rate, and also talk about some possible catalysts for NIO sales. So right after making the video yesterday, I actually found out that Jin Li-hong, who is the president of NIO, made a post in the NIO app in which he was responding to some of the concerns around NIO users about those low deliveries. And I quickly made this post here in the Patreon community that there is actually an 11K run rate. If you remember the video, my one concern that I mentioned was actually that the run rate may have not improved dramatically compared to the last couple of months if we just track how much cars have been produced in those period of time, roughly 10 days, which I believe were roughly 15 days or half of the month. But actually here in the auto translate, you can see that Jin Li-hong actually mentioned that the full capacity was only available for 10 days during October. So this equals roughly 370 cars produced per day, or a monthly production of 11,000 plus. When we are considering that already by the end of September, by the 28th, actually the production was shut down. And so this gives a much better view on the actual increase of the production rate, which yesterday wasn't clear or visible to me. So that actually sounds already much better to me, but it doesn't stop here. Also, Jin Li-hong came out and said to the media that the short-term chip shortages have not played a negative role on the impacts of the October deliveries. So of course, yes, there was lower production in general because of only those 10 days being available to produce, but there was no limitation on the chip shortage. Plus, he could disclose that they're running at more than 10,000 orders for several months in a row now. And so that should also have created a nice backlog. And so this possibly also explains why the stock hasn't beaten up as much due to these low deliveries, but actually the production seems to be increasing on a rate contrary to what I have found out or said yesterday. And on top of that, the order inflow seems to be positive. Now let's also talk about some additional catalysts going into the end of the year, one of which obviously is the Norway Deliveries, and there have now been a total of 47 cars registered in Norway. I think Norway is one of these countries where we can even see daily registrations live, and so while this is still at a very low number, and in October only 10 cars possibly for showrooms and the show cars have been registered, we can now see that the cars are now slowly trickling on the streets to Norway, and we should expect more of that to happen within the next couple of months. Let's see if there is also a second ship or a second shipment coming to Norway. And of course, NIO can only book these cars as deliveries once they have been transferred to the customer and received the final payment. So this is very strict in terms of the reporting that they can do, and this will be kind of a nice icing on the cake going to the end of the year, although this number may not be super huge for the end of this year. Another potential catalyst for deliveries, but also overall for the stock price, I would say, is Tesla's deal with Hertz. More than 100,000 cars ordered by Hertz, and we've seen lots of frenzy around that also for the stock price of Tesla. And I think what might be flying under the radar here is that actually Inter Mobileye, which is partnering up with the rental giant Sixt, will launch a robo-taxi service in Germany next year. And of course, the main car here is the NIO ES8 right now. And although this is different from the Hertz deal, because this will not be a huge fleet for now, and the Hertz fleet is not so much about launching a robo-taxi fleet, but still, I mean, this should give NIO the same visibility in terms of people trying the car out in Munich, having this experience, possibly being able to purchase a NIO by the end of next year in Germany as well. And potentially, if this trial or project here will run really well, I think we could expect that Sixt may also think about integrating more NIO cars into their fleet, and they may actually be up to ordering some more NIO vehicles, maybe also some of the newest cars coming out, then the ET7, ET5, a smaller sedan, or maybe the EC6 makes a lot of sense in the renting fleet. But of course, this is not an actual deal yet, but we've seen how much buzz it can kind of generate for a stock like Tesla, and so we may expect some bullish news to come out in the near term to midterm future there. And so although we had quite negative deliveries now this month, I would say the overall picture is looking more promising actually, and that clearly also has been reflected in the stock price. So thanks again for watching and see you in the next one.